In Worthing, yeah. We played there in the Connaught Theatre, this old Art Deco theatre. It was a wonderful evening. It was absolutely crowded, the cinema. And the day before, they invited us to open a new building district. It's a whole complex of buildings with only music education for broadcaster, for producers, for songwriters, for bands to play together,
right.
you know, and solo instruments to learn. What a wonderful school. I had to cut the ribbon together with the guys of the city and all the sponsor chefs, you know. Fantastic day, yeah.
Okay.
And they showed me everything, the little rooms, and there was a little production room where Alex Young, yes, Alexander Young, maybe 17 years old, very talented guy, was sitting on his music program on a big screen and was programming. It straight went into my heart. Said, "Wow, Alexander, what is this? Who are you?" I said, "Wolfgang. I'm just working on that. I'm not sure what it comes out at least, but." I said, "I like it very much. Can you send it to me? Would you send it?" "Yeah, why should I?" I said, "Because maybe we can do something together. I add some." "Yeah." He didn't know who I am, but that was the good thing.
Yeah, sure, wow.
He saw just a lot of his teachers and some sponsors, old man at least to him, you know, and me in between. Why should he send me his song, you know? And then his teacher explained the circle, the group, and so on. And then he suddenly began to shit out his hands. Come on,
what happened with that song? Yeah. Did anything happen with the song?
Yeah, I worked a little bit. I wrote some easy lyrics and added that. At least it ended in Roboboy.
Wow.
Roboboy likes it loud, you know. And I added my melodies and some tricks and some vocals in.
Wow. So
it became a nice piece for my next record.
Wow.
And I announce Alex Young everywhere I can, you know. And that's cool day.
That's incredible.
And the school likes it. It's a good advertising for them, you know.
Yeah. So that's not your average day in school, is it?
No. And for me also not. It was very nice.
So I suppose that was kind of my big question for you. That if you look back on yourself as a young musician, what advice would you now give to yourself?
To myself?
Yeah, to yourself when you were younger in terms of...
the same. I would say always the same. Do what you like and don't wait for others to show you the way they might be is the right for you. As my parents thought, they wanted to have me as an architect, you know. That would not be the worst thing for me, of course. I studied a little bit that, and I had my apprenticeship as a carpet builder. And anyway, music was always in my heart and in my brain, and it was the most important thing. But tell these your adults, your parents, you know, they want the boys the girls to be safe in life and really earn their money from work, you know. And they didn't believe that I can earn money with music. I did not believe myself that it was egal. It had nothing to do. We only wanted to have fun, and of course creation. But it was more joy, fun, you know, and have a good community. The band was my family always. The school bands, the amateur bands became better and better and better. It took very long to be a professional, what they call it today. What is a professional? Yeah, who earns his money from being creative?
Yeah.
So that started much earlier than with Kraftwerk, because with my last amateur band, the Spirits of Sound, we already earned good money, you know. But that was not a very creative band. We mostly played cover versions.
Sure.
From your English music, you know, from pop music, because in Germany we had only Schlager, and we hated Schlager.
So I heard.
Yeah, to come back to your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must really fulfill your life in that. What is your delight in your talents? Yeah, you must explore your talents. What do you what are you able to do, and don't let anyone tell you what you should not do. It's only up to the boy or to the girl. And but as already explained, sometimes it's difficult with the parents.
Yes, okay. And so it's really interesting to hear you talking kind of about joy and doing what fills you with joy. And I think I've heard that from a few people who've been very successful, that instead of trying to copy what existed, they actually followed what made them feel.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good apprenticeship. It's a good to learn something, to play your instruments at least, you know. And when you know them properly to play, like me, the drums or so, then you can leave that to copy others. Then you find your way maybe to make some tricks, and you do something different as the others, you know? And you found maybe, what is the most positive then, a pretty new own way, you know.
Yeah, and so for you, as someone who's been an innovator, and is renowned as an innovator, what advice would you give young people about finding their own sound, finding something unique? Because I think when I look at the music you're making now, when I look at the music that you've made down the years, all of it is, I suppose it has a kind of element of futurism to it. It's looking for something new. And how have you approached that, and how would you recommend that young people do that instead of, as we say, just copying what already exists?
Yeah, the best is, of course, not copying, clear. But as said, copying is a good way to teach you, to know your tools, your instruments, and I cannot give advice in finding your own way. That's to the people themselves, you know. So there is no lesson, and I mean, in a school or maybe in a university who teaches that.
Yeah.
I mean, a talent is something which is very deep in a person himself, you know, and sometimes nobody knows that. What comes out of it. Even I, in my age, found talents in me much later after Kraftwerk. So it is a process. You have really to listen properly to your own inner voice, inner sounds, and your passions, you know. And you don't have to stop them. You have them not to press them down, to calm them down, just to open everything what you can. You have only one life.
Yeah.
We know that, you know. Give what you can give. Everything is in you. If you have talents, that does not mean that everyone has talents. It must not come an interesting artist from any genre out of everyone. We need all the other peoples, and our society in Europe, in the whole world, needs everyone to do anything that we fit together. So they need also music. We do music. Peter does music. I do music, you know. But also all the others, like photographers, like journalists, and news agents. So we need everything. So all these things can be talents, you know, to be the best maybe, or maybe average, but we also need the average guys.
Yeah.
We need people to come our rooms in the hotel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that is not maybe a special talent, but we are all needed, and we are all on the same level because we need each other. So, of course, it is very nice if someone has a special talent, so he will rise up and be above of all the others, and they praise him and say, "Oh, you are our hero," you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, very seldom.
And so, what role do you see technology as playing in all of this? Because that's another thing that I've always found quite interesting, is that I suppose it can either help you, or it can sometimes get in your way, prevent you from expressing that creativity. Could you maybe just tell us a bit about your relationship with technology, and maybe how it's helped you, or any times that you found it kind of more of a hindrance?
Yeah, at least technology is only a tool, you know. It's instruments are needed to bring your music to anywhere. So technology in our way was synthesizers. It's an instrument at least, and we have to learn how to use them. It is the same as we have to learn how to play a guitar, you know. So we learned to program our drum computers and to write melody in the programs, in the music programs, which we had not in my time in the 70s. It came up later with the MIDI technique. So technique is helping, but it's not the most important thing. Most important thing is that you have to have an idea what you are talking about, or what do you What are you thinking is important to you to bring to the people? Is it something what you would like to tell, like words, like vocals, like lyrics, rhymes in the music when you make pop music, as we, or is it just music, so instrumentals? Is it danceable? Do you do something to bring to the dance floors, which came up later also? So technique is needed. In our genre anyway, so electronic music genre, and but at least, as said, it's just a tool, you know, we have to learn it, and it is very, very helpful if you can handle it.
And so the music you're making at the moment, could you maybe tell us a bit about the tools you're using to make the new records? And maybe how that's changed and what you've kind of changed down the years in terms of how you like to work.
I understand. A lot of things changed after I split my former band and found a different approach to get into music again. It needed Abstand, a difference from my former band from 10 years, you know, a time difference. To get into music again, so I won't go into the details why that came, but at least it came again into my life, and it came by detecting the storyteller in me. I wrote lyrics, I wrote texts and stories, and I learned how to make rhymes from them, and during the rhymes I spoke, immediately came the melody. It's always still today. The melody came up how I would sing it. Someone else who is a better singer should sing it. You know. So I have in my program. I have a good female singer who takes the sung parts, but sometimes more and more they encourage me to sing myself, but with a little bit of technique, so the tools, you know, vocoder and anything else that it is stable and auto-tune, and so you can make from your faults, you can make also good tricks and good sounds from that. Maybe not, but anyway, that became more and more new to my life and more fun. So with my first project after Kraftwerk, the Yamo project, I needed some co-producers, as I need today as well. I'm not trained to do everything on my own. I'm not so much the technician in my programs. And my projects, I need partners. This is for sure. As I have no band anymore, I play today. I can use, or I can try to use with everyone nearly in the world. If the chemical is the same, that's very important. Like Peter Duggal from Hebden Bridge. He is my new partner today. I can announce that, really. I love working with Peter over the net, and we send sounds and files and add them, have ideas, we discuss them many, many times, and we maybe couple sometimes all about that. But we find always a good end, at least, you know. It's brilliant that we have the internet working so good with us today, that we can send files in highest quality there and back, that we don't need to be in the same studio, in the same room, but sometimes we Skype, and we can look at each other, go to that point, and he shows me his program, so make a stop here, and we cut that. So that's so brilliant. That's also technique, you know.
I love the idea of a kind of Trans-Europe Express between Hebden Bridge and Düsseldorf. That's amazing.
That's right.
And so I suppose one maybe final question, that I recently watched a documentary called The Defiant Ones, and it talks about Jimmy Iovine, the record executive, and Dr. Dre, the hip-hop producer. And in the film, Dr. Dre, he was asked about his influences on his music, and he said that his two biggest influences were Kraftwerk and Nirvana. And for him,
what range? What range?
And that was the first thing that struck me, was, like you say, the range between those. But then also just it shows kind of what an impact music that you've been involved with has had on, you know, genres like hip hop. And then if you think the influence that Dr. Dre has had on other young producers, which then goes back to music that you were a part of creating. How do you feel about that? The idea of being sampled, of having legacies other than maybe the music you've made.
Yeah, I hear that often, really often, that we are sampled, the most sampled band of my former band, Kraftwerk. The most sampled band of the world. Wow! When I hear that, then I think we made it at least. Yeah. So of course it can make us proud. Yeah. Of course, but sometimes it's a bit boring if you listen to sounds or to new music anywhere. Sure. You always hear there's a little bit Kraftwerk, there's a little bit Kraftwerk, there's a little bit Kraftwerk. They use this or try to have this.
Yeah.
I have been sent an album. And I couldn't believe what I hear. There was an Italian guy who recorded the most important, the most successful Kraftwerk albums new, and you won't hear it.
Right.
In only one part you hear it when he starts to sing. Nobody can copy Ralph's singing style, this melancholic way, you know, like. Radio activity, that's so sad and so down, so melancholic, But anyway, that's true. But this is the sounds, the tools, prepared, new, all of these with his tools, with his synthesizers. Of course, there is a Minimoog inside, and unbelievable. So there is no copyright on all of this. Is
right.
As we say, remixed,
Right.
But like the originals.
Yeah.
So it took years for him, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's I've never heard of anyone doing something like that before.
These are our fans. Unbelievable. They do this work just in love to our music. It's too much, huh?
And so also tonight we're coming down to the gig tonight, and we're going to be in the crowd. So what should we expect from your live performance? How do you perform the music live? Can you maybe just explain a little bit?
It's always like that. Journalists sometimes or mostly ask, and does he play Kraftwerk? Yes, of course I play Kraftwerk. I wouldn't tell too much about tonight, so I'll give a little surprise maybe.
Okay.
As you know, I was a drummer. I love hard beats, so it can be also really hard tonight. So direction industrial with hard movies, and so I learned a lot. Not every tune is from me. I play many tracks also from artists and DJs whom I'm friendly with, whom I met all my travels in the world.
Sure.
It must be friends. We must the chemical must be the same, nearly the same level as with Peter Duggal.
Some really interesting collaborations that you've been doing recently. Could you maybe tell me a little bit of the story you were telling me earlier of how you've been bringing together what I refer to as your new supergroup?
Okay, so I live in a place called Hebden Bridge, which I guess you have heard of. So Wolfgang Flür, who was in Kraftwerk, did a show there at the Trades Club, which is a fantastic, well-known venue. And we met up that night. It was a nice summer's evening, and we had a great time. We did the show. I dropped Wolfgang at the airport the next day, passed him a CD like you do of my music, and he really liked it. He called me, and we ended up collaborating. We became very close friends. We've been collaborating. We write music. We always meet up in England, and I do shows with him. I support him. There was one track in particular that I had a demo version of, which was a track called Birmingham, which is a track I wrote about 4 or 5 years ago, and Wolfgang really liked the instrumental of that. There was a small bit of vocal on there as well. So Wolfgang basically took that, he added a lot of synthesizers, and he added his unique vocal melodies and parts, and it became a real collaborative effort and turned into this really rather beautiful kind of modern electronic pop record. Then we had the idea of inviting Peter Hook along out of New Order, Joy Division. He really liked the track as well. He played on it. And then we thought we wanted an extra vocal on there. Me and Wolfgang wrote some words together. He took them and reshaped them, wrote all the vocal melodies, and we had the idea to invite Claudia Brucken, who was in a band called Propaganda in the 80s, she's got a really beautiful, distinctive voice. So, yeah, and then Claudia's singing on it as well. So, yeah, it's turned into this real melting pot, if you like, with Wolfgang and Peter Hook and Claudia, and yeah, it's turned into a rather interesting pop record. We'll play it tonight, actually, at the 100 Club show.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to hear the record and hear how you guys perform it live. It's really interesting to hear Wolfgang talking about how you collaborate, sort of in person, obviously, but also virtually. Maybe we could just say a little bit about how that process has worked, and I suppose just as a producer, how you find these different styles of collaboration, and maybe any advice you've got for young people as well in terms of how they can collaborate with people other than the immediate.
Well, I think the first thing to say is that, I mean, me and Wolfgang, we immediately hit it off as friends, and everything was very natural, and we enjoy each other's company, we enjoy each other's music, and it was just a logical next step, really. So we collaborate over the internet mainly, obviously, because Wolfgang's based in Dusseldorf and I'm in Hebden Bridge. We can send files back and forth. We use WeTransfer a lot. So we'll send high quality 24-bit WAV files back and forth, and we just mold the tracks. We're very open and honest with each other. We'll always give our opinions on what we like and what we don't like, and we always get to the point where we're both really happy, and I think that's kind of key, really. You've got to be authentic, and you've got to be open as well. I mean, it's very easy for a lot of producers to, you work in the classic bedroom studio, you have your computers and your synthesizers, and you can get very much into a zone where you're very used to working on your own and only on your own. And it's so wonderful to bring other things into that environment and just open things up a little bit. I certainly find that. Wolfgang, I'm sure, finds that as well. So working in that way is great. We'll just send little ideas back and forth. Sometimes you'll have an idea and you're out and about, and you'll use WhatsApp or send a text message or something. What do you think of this? And it always gets shaped in the end in the studio. So sometimes we'll use Skype. We were running over the final edits of a mix and a few points, and obviously it's quite difficult to say, 1 minute 42 seconds, can we do this? So we put Skype on, we played the track, said, right, stop it there, can you do it? And it's just like sitting next to each other, it's it really does work well. So really the whole world's your oyster when it comes to collaborating, and there are so many things, brilliant things the internet brings to that whole arena. I mean, you can just talk about Peter Hook before. That literally was me emailing Peter Hook, sending him the track. What do you think? And him liking it, and hey presto, you're collaborating. So I think you should never be daunted by these things. You should always be open to, especially if it's authentic and real. People recognise that. So I think it's worked pretty well.
I think it's a great message for young people to kind of be bold about reaching out to people and the possibility of collaborating over distance as well. So what's next for the project? What are you working on at the moment?
So we were just putting the finishing touches to a new track. Am I allowed to say what it's called, Wolfgang? Yeah, we are. It's called My Inner Voice. So that's been quite an interesting track. How would we describe it? I think we better wait till that one comes out. But it's quite an interesting, very talking about being open and collaborative. I mean, it's in two very distinct parts that track. Right. There were two little sketches of music I'd worked on, and Wolfgang looked at them and said these would go well together, and I thought, I'm not sure about that. And then, but we put them together, and then I realised what he meant. So this whole collaborative thing of other people looking in on what you do, and you looking in at what other people do, and seeing it with different eyes is amazing. You can do things that you can write tracks that you didn't realise were already there, staring you in the face, and so it's become fascinating one to finish that, and all this energy comes out again from this kind of experiment and takes it into just a new direction.
Thank you so much for talking to us. That's been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward tonight to that Club 100.
I can't wait to be on the dance floor tonight. And I also can't believe that there's a Kraftwerk Hebden Bridge connection. That's made my entire year. So thank you.
You have been there when we played there?
No. I grew up in Hebden Bridge, so just the thought that you've even played there
3 years ago,
blows my mind. That's actually amazing. So, well, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.